Hey, Level Up listeners, if you want to start booking five-figure weddings, then it's time to start curating a five-figure experience. Get started today with our Client Experience Bundle. Charging higher rates and booking higher quality weddings both require elevating your client experience, and our bundle is going to help you do just that. We are here to equip you with everything you need to impress your high-wealth clients and full-service wedding planners. With this guide, you are going to save yourself hours of troubleshooting and years of potential setback. Now, with this Client Experience Bundle that we've put together for you, you're going to have everything at your fingertips to elevate your communication and your processes both pre-wedding day and post-wedding day. This bundle not only includes email templates, but it also includes a customizable proposal template and professional guides. If you're looking to upsell your clients to serve them really well without feeling salesy, we also include polished and professional templates that provide your client with a feeling that you have their best interest at heart while helping you increase your profits. One of my favorite things about this bundle is that it includes our style guide. Dressing for the occasion demonstrates to your client and the creative team that you respect their event and also showcases a team player mindset. It's truly an incredible resource. Head over to thelevelupco.com/shop and position yourself at the top of the market and grab our Client Experience Bundle today.
This is the Level Up Podcast. I'm Taylor Petrinovich.
And I'm Kelley Gilster of 618 Studios.
And we are on a mission to help wedding filmmakers and photographers level up their businesses so you can make more and work less.
We want to help you confidently take your business from mainstream to luxury, and it all starts right here. Well, hello, friends. Thank you for joining us for another conversation. But I will say this isn't just another conversation. This is the 200th episode of the Level Up Co. Taylor, can you believe it?
I cannot believe it. Yeah, 200 episodes feels like a huge milestone. You guys, that's a lot of yapping.
And Taylor, you've been there from the very beginning, yapping away.
Yapping away. Bless your guys' hearts for listening to me. So the podcast started in January of 2020, and it has gone through a few different renditions, but I feel like this most recent one that took shape starting around 2 years ago has been absolutely the best. So Kelley, I mean, you've been around for 100 of them.
Yeah, it's been so much fun, you guys. Again, thank you guys for tuning in and listening. If you're relatively new, if you're a longtime listener, all are welcome here, and we appreciate each and every one of you. Taylor, you kind of talked about how the podcast has gone through different renditions, and I think that's safe to say for all areas of business. And I think today's conversation, which is treating your business like a business and not a hobby, kind of goes along the same lines.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like so many of us, as we're kind of getting our feet wet within our businesses, whether you do photography, videography, wedding planning, what have you, it has to start small because you kind of need to test the waters a little bit, right? So there are a few areas where you might hold yourself back from like taking the full leap in those early days, and that comes in the shape of really trying to get by, like scraping by with some like DIY or like more inexpensive routes to things that we need within our businesses. It can look like curtailing different things and just working whenever you feel like it. But we're going to talk about a lot of different ways we may be unknowingly self-sabotaging ourselves and our businesses by treating our businesses like a hobby, even though we are 3, 4, 5 years, a decade into business, without even realizing it. So do we want to just like jump right in?
Let's jump right in.
All right.
Okay, so the very first one, Taylor, you spoke to it a little bit, is not really having clear times that we're dedicating towards our business. So I was so guilty of this. And let me take you back to 2010. I was a 21-year-old senior in college starting my business. And I mean, as you can imagine, you're in your senior year of college. So you have, you're in your like core classes, you have a lot that you're doing. And then here I am like shooting weddings on the side. And in the beginning, it kind of was very hobbyist. It wasn't my full-time thing. And then as I graduated, I will say that all of a sudden, all of that working time that I spent as a student, it wasn't really fully replaced with me entering into this world as 618 Studios as a business. I was just kind of, you know, going through the motions, having fun, shooting a lot of weddings, 30 weddings in our first year in 2011. But I didn't have clear working hours. I just kind of worked on things as I felt creatively inspired to do so, which if you're watching on YouTube, I have like air quotes going because I think us as creatives, and if you are a creative who happens to have a business, which is me, you probably do the exact same thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay, so you said something along the lines of like going with the flow, doing what you feel like when you're feeling inspired. And I think what happens, especially when you've been in business for any amount of time, even with just a few years, like habits can be established. And whether we like it or not, some habits are good habits and some habits are bad habits. And the definition of a habit is just doing something without even thinking about it, right? So you may find yourself just day in, day out, week in, week out, following through on these bad habits we established in the beginning because in the beginning, our business was indeed a hobby. Like we were not getting paid for it. And then we just never kind of took like self corrective action to undo those bad habits. And then now we're sitting here 5, 6, 7 years later, continuing with those poor habits. So I feel like this is the purpose of this episode is to kind of illuminate some bad habits we may have fallen into over the course of our businesses so that we can reverse them because success is not just one thing that we do that automatically like skyrockets us to the top. It's the culmination of a million tiny little things that all add up to the greater whole. So any little bad habit that you may be continuing in could be a piece of the puzzle of what's holding you back from achieving your goals. And these dedicated working hours, although it sounds maybe like it doesn't matter too much, it actually matters a lot. Having structure is something that all successful business owners have and embrace. And it's something that sets the hobbyist who does something when it feels good to them apart from a professional who makes a profit. I don't know about you, Kelley, but I mean, I love my business, but at the end of the day, the point of it is to like bring dollars into my bank account. So structure allows for more dollars to flow in. What are some ways? So we all like, we work from home, right? So it can be very tempting to just do whatever all day. And then 10 o'clock at night rolls around and you're like, oh, shoot, I should probably open my laptop. What are some things we can implement to incorporate more structure in our day?
For me, it's time blocking the night before. So if you guys, if you're listening, you probably know that I'm a huge pen to paper person and I do love my digital Google Calendar that Taylor has actually forced me 2 years ago to like really start to implement. And it's been great. But separately, I love on Sundays. On Sundays, I put the kids to bed. We've like reset the house for the week. We're getting into like, I think Paul's probably watching like highlights on ESPN. And I sit down at my dining room table and I get out my weekly calendar and I write down what I pull up. Actually, I pull up my, it's so funny how I just like, I have to repetitively kind of do this to keep me on track, honestly. So I pull up my digital Google Calendar and then I have my weekly calendar and I fill in everything that I need to, that I need to do, or like standing appointments that I have, or we need to record 2 podcast episodes this day, or we have an Instagram live that we're doing on this day, things like that. So things that I need to be there. And then I fill in tasks that I need to get done. Which wedding film needs to go out? Where do I need to show up on social media and which day? Those types of things. And I write that all out. And then the night before each day, I go in and I look at the tasks at hand for the following day and I time block out my day to ensure that I'm staying just on track for what I need to get done. And I just started doing that probably about 6 to 9 months ago, and it has drastically changed my productivity.
Yeah. So I think one thing that so many people can probably relate to is if with lack of structure comes the inevitable putting things off procrastination. And
Yeah.
so by having structure, it forces you to do the things that you need to do in your business because without that structure, you're going to gravitate towards the things that you naturally enjoy, which means all of the things that maybe are a little bit more challenging for you or just less enjoyable will get pushed down the road, and that's going to be really harmful to your business. So there's a lot of things that we need to be doing on a weekly or monthly basis that are just a fact of life. You just have to do them as business owners, and if you keep putting them off, then it's going to stunt your growth by a lot. So, okay. So the first one is not just working whenever you feel like it, having some structure as a part of your day. And maybe I'll just like add a little tiny like addition to that. And I think routines can be really helpful, like always entering your day with like a similar routine. Maybe you're the kind of person who can't work from their pajamas on the couch. Maybe in order to feel productive, you've noticed that actually showering and getting dressed and sitting at a desk results in your best work. And so I feel like just digging deep and like recognizing what it is that helps your productivity and that you can use as like a structure to your day is a great way to kind of maximize your time.
Yeah, no, and I'll even add to that too. Some of us, even though, say, we don't have an office that we go into and we can work from home, not all of us work best from home. And I'll say I do work great from home, but there's every once in a while, there's that one project or that one wedding that I just can't quite get creatively inspired. I can't get my head down like and just start working on it. And now that I'm 15 years into this, I know that I go to like, okay, this is a coffee shop project. I got to get to a coffee shop. I need to be surrounded by people who are also in their laptops working on things and like feeling that energy of like everyone just working on their own things. It like really just like kicks your butt into gear. Like, okay, yeah, I need to like no, I don't need to go, like, clean my bathroom right now. No, I don't need to, like, start the laundry right now. Like, get me out of my space to where I can stop making excuses for myself and get me to that coffee shop to where I can, like, start working. Actually, and I will say, for those of us, if you're not a parent yet, or if you are a parent, I'm sure that a lot of us can recognize that having kids drastically changes your ability to like get work done in a very short amount of time. What used to take me 4 hours to accomplish, now I can do it in 1 hour because I have such limited time that I can work in my business.
Yeah, so powerful. You learn techniques like turning your phone on do not disturb and like setting a timer for 50 minutes and like forcing yourself to only do one task. Like these things can all really help. And it's techniques that Kelly and I incorporate into our businesses all the time. And actually, we just had a huge talk with our mastermind alumni about this very topic a couple months ago. And I think it's really helped a lot of them. Okay, so this next one is actually something that I recently made a transition in as well. Kelly, you were great about it from I think much earlier on, but getting your like legal ducks in a row. So I actually just incorporated. So I'm in a corporate like an S corp now. Kelly 618 Studios has been an S corp for a really long time. And I know a lot of our listeners and our audience members are still kind of towing the line as sole proprietors, which is don't get me wrong, it's so easy to do, and I did it for a long time too, but there's a lot of risks that can come from that, like commingling your funds. Like you should really have your business funds separated from your like personal bank account.
Mhm.
You open yourself up to more liability and risk of being sued if you are a sole proprietor versus an S corp, and in terms of like having your personal assets like stripped from you. Like just imagine, I'm like
Mhm.
imagining like a drone crashing or like a light stand falling or like somebody just tripping over your gear. You know what I mean? Something like we live all like although it's not the highest liability industry around, like there's still a decent amount of liability. Like there's all these drunk people like all around us at these events and like they're ticking time bombs, you know. So I feel like protecting yourself is another way that sets you apart as a business owner who's seeking success.
Yeah. Yeah. I love being an S corp. It's been great. We've been an S corp, I think, for 13 years now. We've had the same CPA. Fun fact, our CPA now, like our kids go to the same school. I think his son's in first grade and mine's in kindergarten. So we get to like see him all the time. It was pretty funny. Paul got all of his taxes done like really early and he got like that dreaded number that we owe, you know, at the end of the year. And like right, he gave him that number and then like he saw him at like school pickup like 2 hours later and I guess he was like, so are you okay with that number? Like they're like totally talking about tax stuff at school pickup, which is so funny. But yeah. And then also to just kind of like piggyback off of the legal stuff, it's so important in 2025, if you've been in business for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, it's so important to make sure that you are like legally all buttoned up with an
Mm.
actual real contract, you know? No more like trying to like kind of grab clauses here and there and like duct tape together this like legal agreement. It's so important to have something that not only you can stand by, but that your clients feel equally protected by too. In 2020, we dove in and got ours done, and we got one for weddings, and we got one for commercial corporate, and it's actually really cool. To like see when like a father of the bride or like a mother of the bride, like someone who's like in legal, we've actually gotten compliments from our agreement saying like this is the most like dialed in agreement that I've seen from a creative that we've hired on for the wedding. And so it's not just about you guys. It's not only about us being protected, but it's equally about the client being protected too. When can they expect their films? You know, how are you going to follow up and like actually be there on the wedding? What are like going to be the repercussions if you don't show? You know, they're equally protected too. And we love the artist lawyer, Maggie Fisher. This is her company over there, and she has amazing templates for wedding photographers, wedding filmmakers, so many great resources. And you can use our code Level Up and be able to get 20% off of any of those incredible resources, templates, shop items, all of those. So Level Up over at the Artist Lawyer, and we hope that you guys will really protect yourself and take those things seriously, right? That's the difference between this kind of being a hobby and this being a real business, is making sure that all of those ducks are in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually we have a few different resources, you guys, just while we're on the topic. You can go to thelevelupco.com/resources and you'll find several different things that you can take advantage of with various discount codes on that page, including the artist's lawyer. So it's just one little spot where we have everything organized for you and ready to go. So thelevelupco.com/resources to grab those things. I mean, okay, so this is like totally a tangent. We didn't talk about that, but like this what I'm about to bring up, Kelley, but it's a lot of it. It's also about perception too. So like, yes, of course we want you to be legally protected, but we also want you to look as legitimate as you actually are. And there are a few things that make you look like a hobbyist, even though maybe you make multiple six figures a year in your business and you're actually very successful. These things automatically like raise little like question marks in clients and planners' eyes. So not having a professional contract. As you start working with higher echelon clients, like these people are very much so intertwined with the legal world. Like a lot of them are business owners themselves or work in law or they have their hand in legal things all the time. So they can recognize a poorly put together contract. Even things like not having like a professional email address. Like if you're still using an @gmail.com or like at netgear.com or whatever email address, like it's time to just like spend the $6 a month and get like a professional at yoururl.com email address. There's just like a lot of tiny little things that chip away at the brand that you've worked so hard to build. And we want you to basically put your best foot forward, going from treating it like a hobby to treating it like a business, the business that it is. And all of
Yeah.
these things add up. The one secret weapon that propelled me and my business into the luxury market, my website. And truth be told, I have never had a custom website made for me. I am a huge fan of templates, and there's truly no better place to buy a website template than Tonic Site Shop. Unlike any other template on the market, Tonic Site Shop website templates elevate and transform the way you show up online. They're super simple but highly customizable plug-and-play templates for Show It websites have truly transformed my business and allowed me to showcase my brand in the best light possible, all while attracting high-quality clients and wedding planners to inquire with me, resulting in hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of bookings that I'm confident would not have been possible without a polished website template like the one that I got from Tonic. You can grab your own website template at tonicsiteshop.com and use our code LEVELUP15 for 15% 15% off your purchase. Again, that is code LevelUp15 for 15% off your website template from Tonic Site Shop. So get started by elevating your online presence with a Tonic Site Shop template for your website today.
Absolutely. Other things that I can think of that are like hobbyist stuff is that when you first started off, you probably didn't have the funds to pour into a professional website. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm so jealous about you all who are like year 2, year 3, year 4 into business, how good and how relatively inexpensive the templates have gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma back in her day did not have that. There were no templates. Like there literally was no templates 15 years ago. Like you just had to kind of like put together what you could do. Like my very first website was like a WordPress website and I had to very much DIY it myself. And then our second website was like a fully custom website because that's all there was. It was like, this like $5,000 custom website. So this was like, I don't know, back in 2012, I would say. And there was no in between of like a template. And now it's so great because you can grab these really easy to use templates that were designed with your business in mind, your messaging in mind. And all you have to do is like plug in your creative assets and plug in the verbiage of the copy on your website. It's so great. And so there's really no excuses nowadays. I'm going to be like hard Kelley on this, like Coach Kelley. There's really no excuses to have a bad website anymore. There's so many good resources out there. Taylor and I love Tonic Site Shop in particular. So my template personally is by Go Live, and it's a Squarespace based website, and they have incredible templates. And you can we have an affiliate code now. It's the Level Up code 10 for 10% off of any of their templates. And they're so good. They're so easy to use. You could literally have your website up and running within 24 hours. This brand new, beautiful website that you can actually be proud of, and that your clients are now going to be really able to see this true value in your work.
Yeah. And if you're a Show It user like myself and want to use Tonic, we have a code for them as well, which is Level Up for 15. Level Up 15 for 15% off. That is listed on our resources page that I mentioned just a few minutes ago as well. We're trying to basically like create a hub for you guys to be referencing over the course of your business journey. As you recognize that you may need something or maybe need to upgrade something, you can just click over and see what kind of resources we have stacked for you with all of the discount codes available. So that's kind of our goal and something that we're working towards consistently over here at the Level Up Co. But okay, so I mean, not investing in your business can take way more shapes than your website. For example, it could be the gear you're using. It could be things like not wanting to spend a little bit of extra money for a more skilled second or third shooter, or
Mm-hmm.
noticing when you may need that third person on your team. Or it can even look like being a little bit more stubborn and stuck in your ways and getting outside of solo shooting. I mean, even when I started business, like I
Yes.
think the first, like, I don't know, 15 weddings that I did, I solo shot, and it was just fine for when I was doing these like much smaller scale events. But I recognized that I could no longer be schlepping gear from the ceremony to the reception while simultaneously capturing it all. So I feel like it's a pretty inexpensive thing overall to add a team member to your roster. Like, I mean, so I pay generally like $100 an hour for my second shooters for like a normal wedding that I'm doing, and up to like a day rate of like 1,500 for specific second shooters that I bring onto my team. And you just bake it into your cost, guys. Like as you're raising your prices, you just bake it into the prices, and you're not coming out of pocket. So I feel like the team member thing is invaluable, and you can look at it truly as an investment too, because now you're going to walk away with a more ample selection of imagery to choose from, and you're not going to be stuck with all the same focal points, all the same styles, all this. So it adds this like richness, I feel like, to your body of work when you do incorporate a second or a third person. And you can also more comfortably incorporate drone stuff, which we all know the clients love the drones, especially the grooms.
Yeah. It's so great. That's like been my biggest like addition from this past year is like recognizing what drone operator I want just like all day long. Just all day long. Like,
Yep. That's your only
it's
job,
like it's
drone
your
op.
only job. It's so great. I'm actually editing a wedding film right now that we had a drone operator. Like that was like his only job. He absolutely crushed it. And just like the production value of this film, I'm so excited about. And now I'm like addicted to like the fact that I want a drone operator. We can't do it for all of them just because of like logistics of certain things or whatever. Or some of them, sometimes like it doesn't always mean for it. Maybe it's an indoor ceremony and indoor reception, and there's just not going to be enough to like utilize drone throughout the entire day. But, understanding when it's time, when it's the right time to do it, like go for it. Your
Yeah.
your business, you're going to see that ROI from it, because it's going to show through in your work, in your portfolio. Clients are going to recognize it. Wedding planners are going to be like, they're like, "Oh, look at this." And then all of a sudden, you're booked. It's all great. So, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like that is such a hurdle for people is the mindset of, like, opening your wallet a little bit, and it's something that tests, I think, so many is because it's counterintuitive. It's counterintuitive to spend more money when the goal is to have more money at the end of the day, right? It sounds like it doesn't make sense, but once you start spending more money, you start seeing like for every dollar you spend, you have $5 to $10 coming back your way. Like you start seeing how that cycle ends up working out and it's so worth it at the end of the day. So like for example, let's just say investing even like in education. Obviously, we're an educational brand. We're very biased. We think that education is like such an amazing investment. So like let's take our students for example. Like mastermind costs a couple $1,000s, a few $1,000s, right? And overall, our students are able to basically take their prices from four, five, $6,000 to $10,000 plus. So a single booking pays for it, but you're not just booking one wedding at that new rate. Now you're booking an additional 10 weddings this year. Like, do you see how that money that you let go of multiplied itself like over time? That's how a lot of investments work. Your new website, adding a team member, you're going to let go of a little bit of money in the beginning, and then it's all going to come back to you tenfold. And so I feel like having that mindset is one thing that sets people apart. Those who don't grow and those who grow really quickly is just like being willing to invest in a multitude of areas.
Yeah. Can I just like read a little shout out? Like shout out one of our alumni students who went through Mastermind in one of her recent wins because this happened this week for her. And this is Mila Lee. She said, "I just wanted to share a win. I booked my biggest package ever today at $15,500. And it's in Seattle, my local market, so I don't even have to pay travel. I don't think I could have ever fathomed this a year ago. Very grateful for LU and the mastermind." Amazing. And Mila's been in business. This is her what? Which year?
I think like third or fourth year. Yeah, she has not been doing this for very long. And I think when she joined Mastermind, she was charging like $3,000. So,
Whoa.
guys,
Whoa.
there's a method to our madness over here.
There is. Amazing. I'm just like so grateful. Anytime those wins come through, I'll always like read them out loud to Paul and I'm like, this is so great. I love it. So anyways, yeah. What are some other areas, Taylor? Like last one, probably, where you see people. Oh, let's take like maybe like a social media approach. What's a
Mm.
social media habit for the hobbyist versus for the business owner?
I think a hobbyist definitely approaches it as like, I'm not going to even really look at Instagram for a few weeks. And then out of nowhere, because I feel inspired to do so, I'll just like post a reel or post a photo or a carousel or whatever it may be. And then feel discouraged that it didn't get any reach and think, what's the point? And then go back to their ignoring Instagram for a little while. I think that's unfortunately very, very common in the wedding industry. We are all creative. So I feel like so many of us are motivated by the creativity behind it, but it can go, Instagram can be so much more beneficial if executed through a plan that you've mapped out for yourself. So actually, I, in the fall, bought this like little planner. You guys, if you're watching on YouTube, it's just like a little $10 planner. It's like nothing crazy. It just has like the month at a glance and then like the week at a glance. And I went through my I would call them like Instagram worthy weddings. Like I have probably 12 that I would be willing to share at this point sitting here in 2025. And I went through and like really thought through like which pieces of each wedding I'd be willing to share, and I kind of like mapped out when I'd be posting it.
Mhm.
So I feel like that's a really great approach for so many people. And if you are motivated by little reminders on your phones or alarms or whatever, just like set an alarm. Like every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m., set an alarm for yourself that says like post to Instagram. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be just like whenever you think of it. Like you could really be methodical in your ways.
Yeah, I think that that makes so much sense, and I've been guilty of it myself. I'm sure a lot of us listening here, there's been a point in which listening to this episode that you're like, "Oh, shoot. Yeah, I still have an @gmail.com email address." Or, "Shoot, yeah, it's time for me to let go of the solo shooting game." I'm at a level now where I can, like, get rid of that. Um, so and that's okay. We all learn from it. We're all ever evolving in our businesses, right? And one thing though I do want to say, this is just like a hot take that I can kind of see, and Taylor and I talk about this a lot in our mastermind, is that a hobbyist in my mind doesn't have a personal brand identity that is like worthy to be attached to their brand. So yes, it's so important to like show yourself on social media or sprinkle in a little bit of personal stuff, but the hobbyist is treating their business Instagram like it's their personal Instagram. And I
Oh my
see that
gosh.
so far too often.
Oh, guys, unless you're staying at like the Four Seasons, please don't post your breakfast to your stories.
Totally.
Like, no more messy living rooms. Like, I mean, my living room is super messy too, guys. Like, I am not a neat freak by any means, but it doesn't see the light of day on my business Instagram. Okay, think to yourself, like, what would insert business like Madewell jeans? Like, would they post this on their Instagram? Like the owner, right? Like, kind of. I mean, it could be a little bit less extreme than that, but like kind of go through some checks and balances internally, like, or even look to those who you really admire in the industry. Like,
Yeah.
let's say Easton Events, or let's
Corbin
say
Gherkin.
Corbin Gherkin. Like, it would,
Because I actually think
what would Corbin do?
Corbin shares a good amount, I would say, of her personal life in tidbits, but it's done in a more strategic way, you guys. Like, and I know that some people might be sitting here being like, well, I want to be authentic and I want to see, I want my clients and like fellow creative partners to like get a little taste of like what my real life looks like. Do it in like the best Beyonce form of yourself, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not showing you like all the things of my
Okay, but
life.
also
It's a
like
curated.
authenticity is like such an annoying concept to me. Like, because
Here we go. Taylor's on a
people
tangent. Let's do it. Let's do it.
people take it to weird levels. Like, they think
do.
if they didn't share about their horrible day with their car breaking down and being stuck in the middle of traffic, and then I stepped in a puddle and my pants got wet, and like, you know what I mean? All these like negative things. They think if they don't share those, then they're being inauthentic. But we don't have to think about authenticity in like those extreme ways. Like, it would be inauthentic. It would be absolutely inauthentic to pretend like I was a horseback rider on the weekends, because I, in fact, am not. Like, that's a lie. Like, definitely don't lie. Lying is inauthentic, but you don't have to share everything to be authentic either. Like, I'm
Yeah.
only going to share my fancy schmancy trip to Hawaii and like a few little glimpses in like a more elevated way my life may take shape, whereas the 95% of my life is very much so like shopping at Safeway for my groceries, not Erewhon, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
How far away is the closest Erewhon to you?
I don't know. Are there any in Northern California?
I'm gonna
That's a
look this
great
up.
question.
I mean, San Francisco like has to have an Erewhon, right?
I don't even know how to spell Erewhon. Aerewhon near me.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. There's one definitely in like LA, but I don't think there's any in Orange County. I'm really surprised about that.
I don't think there's any outside of Southern California. I'm like looking at a map right now. You guys,
Wow.
this just took a funny little turn. Oh, it's a Toon Foods Inc. Oh, it's their corporate office is in San Francisco. But I cannot get the Hailey Bieber smoothie from their corporate
The Hailey Bieber
office.
smoothie. I do want to try it sometime. It sounds great. Yeah, LA really has a chokehold on Erewhon.
Well, I think they're the only people who can afford it.
That's not true. San Francisco? Like all of oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
Palo Alto? Why is there not an Erewhon in Palo Alto?
I don't know. I feel like tech money is very different from like movie star money. Like I feel like those are on two different playing fields.
I think the tech people have more money than the movie star people.
Maybe.
Or they just spend the money in the different way. Like it's less like outward and it's more like they're not less showy. They're not. I think the Hailey Bieber smoothie is like $16
No thanks.
or more. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, sorry guys.
Random tangent. If you've been to Erewhon and had the Hailey Bieber smoothie, can you DM us on Instagram at The Level Up Co. and tell us how it was? Is it overhyped? Is it worth the 16 or 22 or however many dollars it is? I want to know.
Question of the day. Yeah. Okay, guys. The TLDR version of the podcast is look at all of your habits that you have in your business that you've been probably just unknowingly going with from day one, just because that's how it was when you started and you have never evaluated whether or not they're still serving you. And use 2025 as a year to unravel and reestablish positive habits, whether that be creating a more I would say structured schedule for yourself and time where you are forcing yourself to work, whether you feel inspired or not. Spending a little bit of money because you guys, the way the world works is it in fact does come back to you every single time, as long as it's an investment that you're doing strategically and for a reason. Please treat Instagram like the amazing marketing tool that it in fact is. So many businesses have been built to the $1 million mark using Instagram alone as a marketing tool. And I feel like it's a huge miss if you're not utilizing it. And get your legal ducks in a row, guys. Really, if not to protect yourself, then at least to look as buttoned up as you in fact are. So those are our major points. We would love to know what we missed. What other negative habits are you seeing other people in the industry do that maybe make them seem more like a hobbyist than a business owner? Maybe we'll put out something on our stories today and you can let us know your thoughts, because I feel like there's more that we haven't even touched on.
Yeah, we could do future episodes on those too. Again, thank you for joining us for this 200th episode of The Level Up Co. We cannot wait for 200 more. And we hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you for joining us in today's conversation. Please help us reach more filmmakers and photographers like you by taking a screenshot and sharing it to social media. And don't forget to tag us at The Level Up Co.
And join us again next week, same time, same place, as we continue to level up the industry together.